because it doesn't matter how sick I am definitely gonna contour the double chin. Hey, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you. And if you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. So, have you ever been sick, gotten the flu, let's say, and you felt horrible? And because you felt horrible, you looked horrible on the outside, but then slowly over time, you started recovering and almost getting back to your 100% authentic, healthy self? Well, I'm not there quite yet. Right now, I'm at about 90%, I would say. And whenever I feel this way, one thing that I like to do that sort of makes me feel a little bit better is just honestly put some makeup on, because I feel like if I look good on the outside, that sort of creates a placebo effect to where I feel a little bit better on the inside. And that's what I'm really trying to do here today, is create this look and feel better, because girly pop, I've been sick and I don't want to be sick anymore. So if you want to know what I do to create a sort of glow from within type of look like this one today, then please keep watching. Okay, so the most important thing for looks like these, in my opinion, is the way that your skin looks. So when I woke up this morning, I did my usual skincare, which basically means that I washed my face, applied some toner and some serum. Now, when it comes to morning skincare, that's where I usually stop. But this morning, I also applied my moisturizer and some eye cream, because I really want my skin to be plump and hydrated. And now that's had some time to settle in. So hopefully that'll make my base look better, but let me show you what I used. So as far as moisturizer, I've been using this Kiehl's gel cream since July, I believe, and honestly it makes my skin feel and look hydrated without it looking oily. And as far as eye cream, it's another Kiehl's product. This is the Creamy Avocado Eye Treatment, and this is pretty thick, so I applied a small amount, which again I don't normally do in the mornings. I usually only use it at night, but with the sickness and all, my skin has been looking very dull and dead, and I needed the extra perk up. Okay, but before we actually do the skin, I'm just gonna do the eyes, and I'm not really gonna prime them today. The reason for that is because I'm not using much eyeshadow at all, because these looks for me usually are not really eyeshadow heavy. All I did now was just apply just a tiny bit of the foundation that I'm gonna be using later to my eyes to like cover some of the redness, but that's about it. So even though I'm not gonna use much eyeshadow, I am gonna just smoke out a liner really quickly, and for that I'm gonna use the Horse Girl palette by Trixie Cosmetics, and I'm using the shade called Classic, and this is another Trixie Cosmetics brush. I will let you know which one it is because I can't like think of the name right now. But anyways, I'm just drawing a tiny little wing, and by tiny wing, honestly, like I get it that in the grand scheme of things, it's not that tiny. It could be smaller, but for me, this is a tiny wing. If you're recreating this, you do what you feel, okay? And then I'm bringing it in, but I'm keeping the liner close to my lash line. So pretty much kind of like that. I'm only gonna clean up around the edges right here later, but that's it for the liner. I'm not gonna do anything spectacular, and I also really don't have the energy. This is it. And I'm gonna do the same on the other eye. And you know what? Honestly, depending on how well I actually feel, sometimes I might even skip this step and maybe even skip the eyes altogether, just add a little bit of mascara maybe, and that's it. But today I feel almost at 100%, so I'm putting in some extra effort, and this is it. The only thing I'm gonna do now is take a small detailed fluffy blending brush, and I'm just gonna buff out that wing a little bit because I kind of want it to look just a little bit softer, so there's that. Okay, so at this point I'm just taking a cosmetic Q-tip and just cleaning up underneath. Now normally I want this to look like really sharp, so I apply some foundation underneath and then I clean it off with a Q-tip. Today, again, since this is as low maintenance as I can get it, I just cleaned it off, and that's that. So the only other thing that I'm gonna do for eyeshadow is I'm gonna take a single eyeshadow of my choice, something shimmery but that doesn't have too much pigment. So when I'm looking for something like that, for me that's usually either the Fenty Beauty highlighter or the Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadow in Space Cowboy. And today I just decided that I want to use Space Cowboy, so I'm just putting that on a flat brush and applying it like wherever I see fit, but mostly on my moving lid. Just like that. Honestly, it's not much and it's not meant to be much. I just want to add a little bit of glimmer to the eyes. Kind of make them look like they're naturally glowing, which of course they're not. That's really it. The only other thing that I would do here is just apply mascara, but I got a lash lift freshly done yesterday, so I don't really need to at this point. Like I could, and that would make my eyes look even more dramatic, but drama is not what I'm after today for a change. So we're gonna move on straight to the skin, but I am just getting my hair hair out of the way first. I got some Hello Kitty clips and they really spark joy. So today I'm feeling like I still want some of my skin peeking through. I kind of want to fake it and look a little bit more natural, healthy. Maybe kind of like if you didn't know better, you'd be wondering if I was even wearing foundation. That's today's vibe. And now, normally, mind you, if you've been on this channel for longer than 3 minutes, you know that that's pretty much never a vibe. Unless like today, I am literally recovering from the flu. Otherwise, I am a full glam girly. Anyways, today for foundation, I'm gonna use the Tear foundation. And again, keeping this super simple, I'm not gonna use any primer underneath or anything. The moisturizer that I used this morning should be primer enough. And I'm just, you know, applying that all over basically. And if you haven't seen my review of this foundation on the channel, maybe you should go and check it out. At first glance, what I liked about this foundation at the time was how full coverage it was. I know that everybody was saying that, but I just still kind of wasn't expecting it. But one thing I've learned to appreciate about it now is that it's very buildable. You can also adjust the coverage to like a light to medium, depending on how much of your skin you want to shine through. For me today, I feel like this is kind of it. Like I'm not gonna do much more. And now that I'm looking at the viewfinder on camera, this looks like it's much more pigmented than in real life. In real life, I still see quite a bit of my skin showing through. But anyway, I'm just gonna add a little bit to my forehead now as well. And normally here, I pretty much almost always carve out the brows as well, just to get that really sharp edge. Today, again, we're not about sharp, we're about soft, so we are not doing that. Can't forget the nose and around the nose, which, you know what, the skin around the nose is red, honey, because I have been blowing my nose so fiercely. So as far as my dark circles, I used a very light hand and a very small amount of foundation right there because I am gonna apply a different concealer and that's how I'm gonna cover that later. Okay, and that's it. Another thing that I like about this foundation that I think I didn't mention in the first video is that the sponge applicator it comes with really does a wonderful job of applying it. And you know what? Sometimes applicators that come with things don't always do that, at least not in my opinion, so I was very happy about this. I just also took literally whatever is left over on the sponge and just sort of brought it down to my neck a little bit because it doesn't matter how sick I am definitely gonna contour the double chin. Okay, and if I don't, then that's your sign that I've been kidnapped and possessed by somebody else. So I already feel a little bit better, a little bit less lifeless. And now to really cement that, I'm gonna use some concealer, but I'm only gonna use it on my dark circles. I would also normally use it around my nose area, but whenever I use this foundation, I just cover any other spots, pimples, redness with the foundation itself, and I only do the under eye circles with a different concealer. That's what I found works best for me with this foundation. Anyways, for the concealer, I'm using a Catrice Cosmetics concealer. It's the Liquid Camouflage in shade Natural Rose. This is kind of a peachy, and so that's why I like it for neutralizing purple tones, but it's not too peachy, like it's not a corrector by any means. Anyway, I've applied some of that on my hand, and now I'm gonna use a flat brush and apply it exactly where I want it to be. I'm not gonna let it sit much, I'm just gonna blend it in with my finger. And while I'm here with you today, I'd like to take this opportunity and say, Catrice, sweetie, what is going on over there? Because if you've been following me for a long time, you know that this has been my favorite concealer pretty much since I started my Instagram, just because it is very buildable. I can get it in any drugstore, and it's also very affordable. But the shade that I normally use, which I believe was shade 20, I haven't been able to use that shade in like months, if not closer to a year. And the reason for that is because they either changed that shade specifically or the formulation with all the shades, but for whatever reason, that shade, whenever I apply it on my eyes now, turns like almost this weird gray tone after it sits on my skin. And that, I've been using it for years, and that's never happened up until it started happening. So I was very disappointed, but that doesn't happen with this shade specifically. So I really don't know what's going on over there at Catrice headquarters. Mind you, the first time this started happening, I thought, okay, maybe I got just a bad concealer, and I bought like 2 or 3 more because I really wanted it to work out, and all of them do the same thing. But again, just that shade, really weird. Anyways, this is about as much as I want to conceal. I'm gonna add a little bit more right around here just because I have some more redness there, but that's it. And then I'm gonna use a brightening powder. This is by Essence, and I'm just setting underneath my eyes with a small beauty blender. Now I'm not actually gonna let that bake. I'm immediately just gonna dab that into the skin with a fluffy brush. So then I'm left with something like this. I also am not planning on setting any other part of my face, just because this foundation leaves you with a sort of natural finish, and that's my goal for the day. Anyways, one thing that I've started doing recently is applying blush first and then using some bronzer underneath. I feel like I like the look of that right now, but also take whatever I say with a grain of salt, because I always have had blush blindness and I don't think I'll never not have it. So I am sticking with my Ride or Die blush. This is by The Balm. And if this ever gets discontinued, because recently a lot of the products that I've loved are getting discontinued, if this ever gets discontinued, you will hear my cries far and wide, and just know that. So I'm just taking some of the blush on a blush brush and applying it.
2 hours later.
I feel like this is enough. I'm also going to show you another little trick that I've been doing. So there's actually 2 blushes, a lighter and a darker one, in this little blush palette. Well, it's not really a palette, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm using the darker shade right now. It's called Victory. And I apply that to like the lower pockets of my cheeks. And then I'm just using the same brush. It doesn't matter. But I'm dipping it into the lighter shade that's called Pre-Party. And this one is so pretty. It has some gold reflex. Anyway, I'm applying that to the higher points of my cheeks, just like this. And I feel like that looks really pretty. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person you can definitely tell. It creates sort of a gradient between the darker and lighter blush, and I really like that. Okay, and now that I've done that, I'm gonna apply some bronzer. This I'm not gonna use too much of. I'm just gonna apply it where I would apply it normally, kind of like that. I hope you can see how much more of a smooth blend that creates, and that's without blending, and I've only ever found that that happens if I apply blush first. Now normally I would cut these cheeks, and honestly I'm kind of having a hard time not doing it today. So we'll compromise. I'm gonna do it, but it's not gonna be too much. I'm just gonna use whatever was left over on this small beauty blender. So I'm just gonna use whatever was left over to kind of cut the cheek like that. And I'm just knocking that off now. So because I used a very small amount, it's not a very sharp cut, but it's just sharp enough to where I like it better than if I didn't cut it at all. Also, I'm gonna add some bronzer up here. This is where the sun would naturally hit, and that's what I'm trying to cosplay as. This side is giving bed rotting, and this side is giving I had a brat summer. I also do realize that it's like December, but is brat summer ever really over? No. Oh, by the way, on the day that you're watching this, I believe it's the day after Christmas. So Merry Christmas if you celebrated, Happy Holidays if not, and I wish you a beautiful and magical new year. I hope that the new year brings you a lot of joy and peace. I know that it'll happen for you, and I'm super proud of everything you've done in 2024. Even if I don't know what that is, I'm super proud of you. You know why? Because you kept going, and that's fierce, period. Okay, anyways, you know what else is fierce? Trying to hide this double triple chin. Okay, so this is it. The only other thing I'm gonna do is contour my nose. I call this my contouring. It's really not contouring. I'm just bronzing it up a little bit. So again, whatever is left over on the brush that I used to apply my bronzer with, I'm just gonna staple that onto my nose, and I'm sort of doing it in a contour shape. Like I'm doing the 2 little lines at the bridge of the nose, and I'm going over here. And so that adds a little bit more dimension to the nose, maybe sort of making it look a little bit smaller, but in a natural way. Okay, and this is pretty much it. One last thing is the lips, and let me take out these hair clips first. Oh, but as far as lips, I forgot to mention this earlier. I use a overnight lip mask so that they're soft and pillowy now, and this is by ColourPop. It's from the Alice in Wonderland collection. I believe you can still get this. If not, I'm actually sorry, but just like use anything. Now for the lips, I also want them to look super moist, healthy. Ooh, I hate moist. I hate that word. I icked myself out. I want them to look super, yeah, well, moist. What else can I say? Damn. Anyways, and like healthy and glowy. So the star of the show for that reason is gonna be the So Juicy Gloss Bomb. Anyways, before I apply that, I'm gonna slightly line my lips, and I'm doing this with my favorite lip liner, and this has been my favorite lip liner ever since I first bought it in like May. It's also by ColourPop. This is literally not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. This was also not PR. I bought this all with my own money. I'm just saying I love it because it's affordable and it glides on like a dream, as you can see. This specifically is the shade Tease. I bought like 5 of these and I'm very happy about it. Anyway, I'm gonna line my lips, but I'm not gonna overline too fiercely. Now, I normally don't do this part because I like the lip liner peeking through, but today I'm taking a flat brush and just blending that into my lips so that it doesn't really look like a lip liner. Like, I don't want a harsh line. Okay, and now that that looks sort of like this, I'm gonna use the balm. And this, like any other balm, I don't want to click it too far up. I'm just gonna apply it like this, and that's it. It gives my lips this really beautiful kind of shine. It's not quite glossy. It looks more of like a Vaseline in person, and I love that. And with that, we're done with today's look. Now, normally, those of you who watch this channel are gasping right now because there is no outright highlighter on this face. And normally, I love to use highlighter. But if today I'm pretending that the glow is coming from within, I'm not gonna do that. Plus, there is already some shimmer in the blush, so that should cover it. I really can't believe I'm saying that. Who am I? It feels like I'm a different person. Anyways, that is it for today's look. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I hope that you get visited by a magical New Year's fairy. What is a magical New Year's fairy? I don't know, but it sounds amazing and I hope that you find out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider liking, subscribing, maybe even commenting, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.